we looked at it and we're like, wait a minute. That not only causes controversy, it causes rivalry, and it kind of calls that like FU mentality into like.
I had to bring this up because PWHL might be my new favorite hockey league. They literally adopted the top 2 requests that I've had for years from like, I begged the NHL to do this. Granted, Gary Bettman doesn't really return my calls too often, but the PWHL has instituted first for playoffs, they're doing the pick your opponent. High seed gets to choose who they play.
Oh.
That rocks so hard. I love it. And earlier today, and this is Wednesday that we're on the live stream for those of you that are listening on podcast, earlier today, Joe Smith and I recorded our 3rd interview for Fellowship of the Rinks with Taylor Heise of your team Minnesota PWHLers, which she strongly advocates for Purple Rain for the team name. Can't say I argue with her. But she actually jumped on with us to talk about these rule changes. Isha, you'll probably plug that right now. The coolest thing that I just saw pop up on my feed earlier today was some of the rule changes.
Yes.
Particularly, it's not going to happen in the NHL, I don't think, but I love that you guys are at least making a push. Being able to pick your playoff opponent if you're the higher seed. I absolutely love that. It starts rivalries. It gets way more intrigue from fans. What are your thoughts on it?
I just actually looked at that. I've been busy today doing that stuff, but Kelly actually and I, who was here with me baking, we looked at it and we're like, wait a minute. That not only causes controversy, it causes rivalry, and it kind of calls that like FU mentality into like, do you think that you want to play us because you've beaten us? You think we're the worst, or it's just going to be a good matchup? So that's crazy. I'm very excited to see. And then obviously this wouldn't happen in our league, but people tanking based on getting a higher pick in the draft, to know that the 5th team will get the first like pick, and the 6th team, I don't really know how that's going to work, but I know that once you're out of playoff contention, you start racking up points after that. So that's crazy. I think that and all the rule changes we've had, as much as hockey's been great for the past, 200 years, I think within reason, it's fun to change things up a little bit, but keep things the same that make sense. Keep it like, keep the dots where they are, keep the nets where they are, but they have other things.
If you ask Jeff Merrick, he'll say, just change the color of the ice and we'll be good.
Right.
But I didn't even know about the draft change, to be honest. And I have like long championed that, because I think it was Shane Doan came out and he like basically said, my kid was at a game today and he was cheering for the other team because he wanted us to lose and get a better player in the draft, because like that was a year that Arizona was in the tank. And he's like, that is not okay. Here's how we fix it. As soon as you're mathematically eliminated, you start accumulating points. And I have been obsessed with it ever since.
Yep. So I hadn't heard of that prior, but after seeing that today, I think that this is an awesome, not only start for us, but it's going to prove that if other leagues or other people want to do this in the future, that it can work, and that it's, incentive. I have never thought that women's hockey, like as much as guys hockey, you don't have that much of there's so many teams, you don't have that much of a grasp on it. I think with us being by one entity, like all of us under the same one, I don't think that would happen. But even if it did, like, I guess we wouldn't know because we're not behind the scenes on every team, but I think it's going to be awesome. And it's going to be something that a lot of people are going to be looking forward to here at the end of the year.
Is that not the most fun thing you can possibly do for the playoffs?
Like, and to make it even better, you have to market the absolute shit out of it. Like, your social media teams have to be like, we pick these fucking absolute losers. Just like, where we've picked this team to sweep in the first round, we think it will be easy because they suck. I love that. So good for them for doing it. I think it just, the amount of hate it creates puck drop, like even in warm-ups, you're just like, you fucking assholes, you pieces of shit. So good for them for doing it. The PWHL, they're just doing everything. So like, they're like, hey, what's the most fun way we can do this? Let's do that. Which is just like, hey, what a concept. So shout out to P-Dub.
Yep. Now the second
shout out to P-Dub,
I have lobbied for way harder, and this one is probably even less likely to occur in the NHL. Have I talked to you before, Z, about the Shane Doan draft lottery proposal?
Nope.
Oh boy, this is a fun one too. So go back to, I believe this was actually the McDavid draft. Yes, the 2015 draft. The Coyotes were kind of in the battle. Of course, Edmonton somehow lands him, but the battle was really between Arizona and Buffalo for who was going to get Connor McDavid. And there was a game where Shane Doan's son, now member or draftee of the Arizona Coyotes, was aggressively cheering as Buffalo was scoring goals in Arizona because he wanted McDavid to play there. And Shane Doan basically came out and said, this is unacceptable. I think it's disgusting that like we're in a world where fans are going to cheer for their team to lose because they want to get a better draft pick. Here's my solution. Instead of awarding the losers, the people that decide to suck to like all end, why don't we take the teams that are, naturally not in the thick of things, but encourage them to still try, because you start accumulating points for wins as soon as you are mathematically eliminated from the playoffs. So people argue, well, the better teams have a better chance of winning games. Yes, but let's say this year, the San Jose Sharks have 12 games to do it, and we've got the Minnesota Wild getting out with like one game to go. They get one game. I'm guessing the San Jose Sharks are going to accumulate more points over those 12 games than the Wild will over one. And obviously there's middle ground to it, right? Oh, we take a team like Arizona who's going to get 7. Who can do better? Great. That's what makes it interesting. So teams don't completely go like full fire sale. Don't aggressively tank. Don't trade a goalie because he's playing well in Michael Neuwirth, which is still the craziest thing that I've ever seen. Won 3 games in a row for Buffalo, gets shipped out immediately. Like I've never seen more blatant tanking. But I love this concept of like, yes, we're going to weight the odds in favor of the bad teams, but you still got to fucking earn it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think with that one, I think there has to be a little bit more probably nuance to make it realistic, because like the argument against that is always like the guys on the team are like, fuck you. Like, they're fucking like, go fuck yourself.
Well, no, I disagree completely. The guys on the team, even if you're selling off, the players aren't kicking in the season. Like, they don't want to lose. They're fighting for jobs. They want to play in the NHL. So no, I would argue that if it's like, oh, we're fighting to like get this guy in to like get the first overall pick, they're still going to try, because if you suck, guess what? You're not going to stay there and no one else is going to fucking want you.
Yeah, I guess. I'm definitely down with that format. Again, I'd still think if you're on those teams, like, I still think they would still be like, all right, this is fucking like, fuck off. But I like the concept of just being like, all right, we're not like tanking just does not, like, we're not needing our own fans to like boo, like hope that we lose. Like, I like that. So again, P-Dub actually trying things, big fan of that move. So it is wild just to think about it, like in the NHL, how that would play out. But I do, and like, I just, God, I don't know. I just feel like there were players being like, all right, this is fucking bullshit. Like, fuck you guys. Like it's almost a circus act. Like, fuck off. But at the same time, like, all right, well then win games. Win games, you fucking loser.
Build me a bicycle, clown.
Yeah, Billy Bicycle Clown.
Shut up, funny guy.
Shout out to P-Dub. They're putting in it again. Like, just the fact that they're experimenting, trying like fun ideas. I think obviously this is year 1, and as they're building the league, they'll find out what works, what they don't like. You know what I mean? But
well, and dude, like, no better example, right, than the team names. In the NHL, Gary Bettman would never unplant his flag with the teams already selected, right?
Right, yeah.
PWHL, they like soft teased, hey, here's what the team names are going to be. people shit all over it, and they're like, all right, we heard you. We're gonna punt on it for this year. Everyone's just gonna be team and location, but we'll figure it out later. Like,
yeah,
I love that though. I respect the hell out of it. Like,
oh yeah, absolutely.
Never. He'd be like, yeah, whatever. You'll still watch.
Yeah.
I love
it. Yeah. Shout out to P-Dub. Just fucking doing right. Just doing it well. Doing
PWHL
it right.
leading the way. 100%.